at the top end there is this number, this 400 million, right, 400 million people, which is roughly about 80 to 90 million households. I mean, and the moment you are talking of 80 to 90 million households, that itself is a huge number. So that's the, I mean, universal market. If we have to provide universal access to electricity, that's the number we are talking about. But then beyond that 80 to 90 million, as I said, there is still another one third, which is another 80 to 90 million households who have very erratic supply. You know, they also need electricity services. You cannot reach this 400 million people through, you know, some very small programs of government or some small little interventions of the not-for-profit sector. So private sector or enterprises and the entrepreneurship model has to play a significant role if you actually have to ensure that all these people, all this huge number of people get access to electricity. Most of this number, that 400 million we are speaking about, they are again mostly in rural area. Yeah, they are in rural area, and when I say rural area, I mean that bad infrastructure. Generally, I am not talking of always bad infrastructure, but generally bad infrastructure, mostly in remote locations. Somebody is in the top of a mountain, somebody is in an island, somebody is in the middle of the desert, I mean, and somebody is in the middle of a forest, and there is a significant population in this country who come in all these categories, right. Now, see, if that be so, see, you cannot have very standardized solutions for this kind of communities who live in this kind of places and who do not have access to electricity. I am saying this for a reason, because see, most of these big enterprises are actually good at providing very standardized services, standardized product and services. But the moment you talk of people who are in such kind of location, they don't need standard product and services. So which means they need customized services which sort of fits their needs, which meets their need. If you look at this kind of requirement, it's only the small and medium industry which can cater to some of these requirements. The big industries, the government and all that, generally they have higher overhead, you know, generally big companies and all that will not go to remote locations to serve some of this community. So that's the reason why you need the SME sector to be involved. If you look historically, most service scale industries are actually small and medium. The localized services and all are all catered by the SME sector. So that's the reason we believe that it's the SME sector which will you know, meet some of these needs. They can be innovative, they can be, you know, quick footed, they can change their business model around whatever uncertainties or certainties which come about. For the SME sector and the private sector to succeed in this area, what we need four things. One is policy certainties. The second is around access to finance, both from an end user point of view as well as from an enterprise point of view. Third is around technology innovations and standardization and decentralized testing procedures. And the fourth is about getting skilled manpower. How do we ensure that skilled people get into this sector?